he's trimming them, and he possibly still can be doing them right now. But of course they have grown out quite a bit. Right now we see him in the 2-strand twist, and I think 2-strand twist is honestly one of the best dreadlock hairstyles, and it's actually quite easy as long as you know how to properly do it. And one thing I mentioned in the YB in the mirror video is to step your dreadlocks up another notch is to just figure out how to do different hairstyles. If you have longer dreadlocks, try out 2-strand twists, try box braids, or if you have shorter dreadlocks, you can try cornrows, or you can try bantu knots. It's really up to you to just test things out to see what works best for you. But in this case, we see him with the 2-strand twist, and he has the ponytail in the back, and he has some hanging down in the front. Just an overall very aesthetic look. Now I wanted to take you guys back a little bit and show you what his hair looked like before, just to establish his hair type. Now I have a video on Wiz Khalifa, and you guys can watch that one as well. So this one's just more of an update on the maintenance that he's doing to keep up with his dreadlocks. But looking at his hair type, he has about a 4B, even possibly a 4C. He does have a very tight curl pattern. One thing you're noticing at his afro right here, how even at the tips of his afro, his hair is starting to beat up. And what that means is his hair is just naturally locking up at the tip. And obviously from this photo, you see most of them on the left side, and you see a little bit of them on the top of his head. But this is just what happens from the locks actually developing on their own. And a lot of you out there actually have dreadlocks to where the tips are looking like this, to where it's almost like a detached knot at the very tip of the dreadlock. And this is something I'm dealing with personally on my own dreadlocks. So if you guys want to follow my personal journey, you can go to my main channel, Gunther the Great, which is linked down below. And you're able to see the entire journey that I'm going on with these new dreadlocks that I started about 6 to 7 months ago. And I'm actually working on a video showing you how to protect those loose ends that fall out and how to maintain them. So stay tuned for that video on my main channel. This is a little bit after Wiz Khalifa started off his dreadlocks. You can see how he allowed his roots to grow out quite a bit. And that's one thing I want to mention about the beginning stages of doing twisting with gel, which Wiz Khalifa could have started out with a combination of methods, which it could have been twisting with gel and then going into crochet hooking. But I feel like when he started out his dreadlocks, it was kind of premature of actually using crochet hook. Although people used them back then, it wasn't as popular. So I believe that he started out with twisting with gel and then allowed it to kind of grow out on its own and then just kind of semi-freeform, although he was maintaining them. And this is one thing I would encourage all of you guys to do as well. If you're doing the twisting with gel method, and I would only recommend this on anything above a 3B hair type, if you're doing that method, I would suggest allowing it to lock up on its own for at least a month in between retwists. Now, of course, it gets a little messy, your roots get a little overgrown, but that allows your hair to lock up on its own and get the strongest lock. Now, of course, you can do whatever you would like with your hair. If you want to keep it completely maintained all the time, there's nothing wrong with that. But I will say it's easier to enjoy the process when you're not so hands-on all the time. And if you do have dreadlocks for the hairstyle, it's always good to just keep maintaining them the way to make them look the way that you want them to be. So if you want them to be more maintained, then maintain them that way. If you want them to be less maintained, then kind of back up off of it. Now we've seen this photo that his dreadlocks are shoulder length. And one thing about having a full set of dreadlocks is that you reach shoulder length pretty quickly. When you have a high top set of dreadlocks, you don't reach shoulder length until about the 2-year mark. But when you have a full set of dreads, you reach the shoulder length, I would say around the year mark. Now, of course, you reach it a little quick because you have hair on the back of your head that reaches your shoulders pretty fast. But I would say about the year mark is when you reach that shoulder length. Now, just a quick tip for everybody. Everybody's hair grows about 6 inches every single year. So with that being said, everybody's hair grows about a ½ inch every single month. So keep that in mind. I know a lot of people make videos on how to grow your hair faster. And really, those videos should be saying how to prevent your hair from not growing. Because the goal is to have your hair growing ½ an inch a month. And if it's not growing that fast, then you need to look at what you're doing with your hair that's stunting its growth. Because you can't make your hair grow faster, you can only promote the hair growth. And I've made quite a few videos on this, but I do plan on making more videos on bringing clarity to that subject. So stay tuned for those on my main channel, Gunther the Great. But we still do see him with the 2-strand twist in this photo. And I'm telling you, this is a very popular hairstyle with longer dreadlocks. And like I said earlier on in this video, I really think that he's growing his dreadlocks out completely. And with him growing out his dreadlocks kind of reminds me of Snoop Dogg, of how he has grown out his dreadlocks. And it's just always interesting seeing celebrities or rappers or honestly whoever grow out their dreadlocks and not trim the length of them. because we see so many people like Lil Pump, Trippie Redd, Lil Uzi Vert that actually trim the length of their dreadlock. And dreadlocks are way different now than they were back in the 90s and the early 2000s, to where people had dreadlocks and they wanted them to be extremely long. So it's just a whole different set of people that have dreadlocks these days. And the cool thing about it is you see the uniqueness of everybody's dreadlocks now versus, you know, the traditional route of everyone doing twisting with gel, or if you had straight hair, doing back combing. So